Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So it is FA Cup week. Of course we saw Arsenal beating Portsmouth yesterday by 2 goals to 0 at Fratton Park. Of course it is Liverpool and Chelsea this evening. I did give you my preview for the Liverpool Chelsea game yesterday. By the way, it is at Stamford Bridge. I think City and Sheffield Wednesday is also coming up. So yes, it is FA Cup week. Of course, my club Manchester United go up against Derby on Thursday, and I am going to be now giving you a preview for that game. So it is at Pride Park on Thursday, 8:15 kickoff. It is going to be an intriguing tie. The main explanation for that is because, Wayne Rooney is going to be reuniting with Manchester United. As you all know, Wayne Rooney, was a long-serving player for the football club, and he was a club legend. He served 13 years at Manchester United, scored 253 goals in all competitions, so he is our all-time leading goal scorer with Wayne Rooney. I think he's also a top goal scorer for England, also won multiple Premier Leagues at Manchester United, also won FA Cups, League Cups, and he was an absolutely sensational player, Wayne Rooney, for Manchester United. I think since he's left the club, if I'm right, he has played against us, when he did go back to Everton. Obviously, after he left Everton, he went to DC United in the MLS, and now he is the player manager of Derby in that. And I think from Wayne Rooney's perception, he'll be looking really forward, to this game playing against his former club. But yeah, it is in the FA Cup fifth round. Of course, we progressed to the fifth round of the FA Cup by beating Wolves in the third round. Of course, it did go to a replay, where we beat Tranmere in the fourth round by 6 goals to 0. I think that's our biggest win under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, and that's our highest away win, since we beat Nottingham Forest 8-1 back in 1999. So that's how we progressed to the fifth round of the competition. Derby progressed to the fifth round by beating Crystal Palace in the third round. They beaten Northampton in the fourth round, so that's how they progressed to the fifth round. By the way, I just want to say that, there is no replays now in the fifth round. I didn't know, actually. I've just researched it up, and it says there's no replays in the fifth round. So if it does end a draw, it will go to extra time and penalties if necessary. So I just wanted to confirm that with you guys. We have played Derby quite a few times, in recent years. We did play them in the League Cup, was it last season? But we got knocked out on penalties. We also played them in the FA Cup back in 2018. We played, Derby, we did win by 2 goals to 0. We did play Derby back in 2016 at Pride Park. We did beat them by 3 goals to 1. So we have played them quite a few times in recent years. I think like Derby, sitting like 14th or 15th in the Championship. But I do believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will make quite a few changes from the 1-1 draw with Everton at the weekend. But the FA Cup is a priority for us. And, we have got a chance of winning it. And, it is a chance of us, getting some silverware on the board. We progressed to the FA Cup final back in 2018, but lost to Chelsea 1-0. We have got to a few finals and lost. The last time we won the FA Cup was back in 2015 under the Louis van Gaal era. So definitely the FA Cup is a priority for us. Also take into account the Europa League is a priority for us because it's another route to Champions League football, and again, it's a chance for us, getting some silverware on the board. So now we'll give you a bit of team news building up to the game against Derby. Of course, I've already given you the news regarding Paul Pogba, haven't I? It has confirmed that Paul Pogba is set to return to training this week because he has been stepping up his fitness regime. Paul Pogba's come out and said, he's looking forward to the development in, the partnership with. He's looking forward to the development in partnership, with Bruno Fernandes. This is what, Paul Pogba has come out and said. And I think him alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield, they would complement each other fantastically well. So he's stepping up his fitness regime. He's probably, like I mentioned, revert back to what I said. But I think the Derby game on Thursday has come too soon for him. But we are expecting him, to play against Manchester City. If not Manchester City, in the Tottenham game, Paul Pogba should be back. Pogba's only played 8 games this season. His appearances have been limited, due to his injuries. I think it's over a month ago now since he did have the surgery on his ankle. Paul Pogba has not played for us since Boxing Day. He hasn't started a game from the start since September. Well, he did initially recover from his first injury, but then obviously, he obviously sustained another injury. So this is why, he's been out for a long time as Paul Pogba. Like I mentioned, I don't think Paul Pogba wants to be at the football club. A lot of United fans believe he doesn't want to be at the football club. And Graham Souness recently come out and, give his verdict on Pogba. He said, that Paul Pogba doesn't want to play for Manchester United because he was questioning his lengthy absence through injury. This is what, Graham Souness, was doing in that. And he did basically say to Graham Souness, this was after the game against Everton, he said if Paul Pogba wanted to play for the club, he would have been available for selection by now. He feels as though, he hasn't really showed enough, to recover faster. So he's basically said, he showed a lack of commitment. But the good news is he will be playing for Manchester United again before he does leave in the summer, because I'm still very convinced he will be leaving the football club in the summer. And I think he'll either go to Real Madrid. If he doesn't go to Real Madrid, he will make a return back to Turin, because Pogba did endure 4 good years in Turin with Juventus. And the vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison, but overall he's still a very imperative player. Now, Paul Pogba said he wanted to leave last summer. Don't forget, his preference was a move to Real Madrid last summer. I think his actual preference now is to make a return back to Turin. Obviously, Pogba's still got a year left on his contract. Man United do have an option to extend it by a further year. I think we've quoted out that we want around 150 million for him this summer. Real Madrid come out a couple of weeks ago saying that they only valued him at £50 million, so that's 3 times less, than what we're demanding. But yeah, I think he will leave the football club in the summer. But looking at it from a financial point of view, will generate quite a lot of money for his departure, and it will free up our wage bill a little bit, because he is one of the highest paid players at Manchester United, is Paul Pogba. But he has enjoyed a very, very difficult tenure with the club since he rejoined. Had a lot of bad disputes with Jose Mourinho, did Pogba. We had him when he was younger, don't forget, under Ferguson, and I think we made a mistake getting rid of Paul Pogba when he was younger under Alex Ferguson. The main explanation why we let him go on a free transfer is, due to, him not getting enough appearances. So Pogba now is close to returning. I've also got some news on Alex Tuanzebe and Fosu Mensah. They probably won't start the game against Derby, but I think they could play some parts in the game. They're now back at Tuanzebe and Fosu Mensah, because they was playing for the under-23s yesterday, I think, against Stoke. And like Solskjaer revealed prior to the game against Bruges, that there was close to a reserve game or behind closed doors. Tuanzebe and Fosu Mensah have been out for a while, so I'm very sceptical that, we'll start any of them in the game against Derby. But the good news is, they could be involved. Obviously, we've just seen Bailly recently come back from injury. He could participate in this game, Eric Bailly. A lot of people now saying that Bailly's their first choice preference over Victor Lindelof. So now, our first choice centre-halves could be Bailly and Maguire instead of Lindelof and Harry Maguire, because Bailly has proven a point since he come back from injury. Obviously, we know that Marcus Rashford, he's not going to be participating in this game. Rashford is going to be out until the end of the season. Well, could be out until the end of the season. Solskjaer did reveal that Marcus Rashford should be fit for the Euros this year. This is what Solskjaer had said. He should be fit for the Euros this year. Rashford come out and give his own perception on it. He did say he's confident he will return to first team action, before the end of the season. But he has got a back injury, is Marcus Rashford, and obviously his injury is more severe than what we officially thought at the first. But Solskjaer made a mistake by playing him against Wolves in the third round. If he hadn't brought him on, probably more than likely the injury would have never occurred. And, like I mentioned, Rashford has been one of our best players this season. He definitely has. So he won't be playing any part in the game. Of course, Anthony Martial, he was playing against Everton, surprisingly, because there was doubts before the game against Everton, that he could have missed, because it did confirm that Anthony Martial had sustained a thigh injury whilst he was in training prior to the Club Brugge game. So he missed the Club Brugge game, did Anthony Martial, but obviously his injury wasn't severe. But Anthony Martial has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But I think since he's come back, he really has rejuvenated himself. Luke Shaw, I think he's done really, really well since he's come back from injury, because don't forget, he was out for 2 months. People have got different perceptions. Some people say Brandon Williams is a better solution than Luke Shaw. But look, since Luke Shaw's come back, he's again now become our number one choice left back as Luke Shaw. In terms of the experience, obviously, you'd go on Luke Shaw because Luke Shaw's a lot more experienced than Brandon Williams. Luke Shaw's into his 5th season at Manchester United, is he? Or 6th season, should I say. You've got Brandon Williams that's only in his 1st season in the senior squad. So, obviously, still inexperienced at the moment is Brandon Williams. So that's a bit of teams building up to the game. I can confirm Sergio Romero will be starting in goal in this game more than likely because he tends to start in the cup games, does Romero. Obviously, he's our second choice goalkeeper. Obviously, De Gea's been getting a lot of criticism recently. Obviously, reflecting on his calamitous mistake that he did make in the 1-1 draw with Everton that led to Dominic Calvert-Lewin's first goal of the game. It was Roy Keane, that's been coming out and criticising David De Gea. He basically believes, does Roy Keane, from his own perception, that he could lose his place in the team, could David De Gea. Obviously, I think we could possibly sell David De Gea this summer, to help us with our rebuilding process, and we'll still generate quite a bit of money, if we do sell David De Gea. And of course, when Dean Henson does come back from his loan spell with Sheffield United, I think we're considering making him our number one goalkeeper. Probably is a better solution than David De Gea at this present time because he has been a revelation for Sheffield United. And I think he did the right thing. We did the right thing by sending him out on loan because it has gained Dean Henson a bit more experience. I said David De Gea, he's still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, like Solskjaer was saying. He reacted to Roy Keane's comments. And he's now into his 9th season at the club. He's endured 8 years here. I think analysing it, he's had a good 6.5 years or so. But I think he's been a liability as David De Gea, at least for the last year and a half or so. You can't take that away from him. He's won, everything here domestically. He's won the club's player of the year numerous times, reflects on his good run of performances. He's, just made over 300 appearances for the club in the Premier League, nearly 400 appearances in all competitions. And if he was to leave Man United, where would he go? Would he go to Real Madrid? Because Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. They were so close to getting him 5 years ago. Obviously, PSG and Juventus have also expressed their interest in him. David De Gea is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. He's the highest paid at the football club because he's on £375,000 a week, is David De Gea and that. So I can confirm Romero will start in goal. I think, like I mentioned, Bay will be involved in the game. Brandon Williams probably, will play a part. I think Mason Greenwood, he'll also be involved in the game against Derby. I've been impressed recently. We've made the right decision because Solskjaer in the last 2 league games has started Mason Greenwood from the start. And like I mentioned, he seldom, starts in the Premier League, does Mason Greenwood. So I think even if he doesn't start Greenwood, he will be involved in the game against Derby. Diego Dalot, he could also get given an opportunity. His appearances have been limited this season due to the, couple of injuries he's had. I don't really have a perception on Dalot at the moment. I haven't really watched enough of him, but he's our backup, to Anwan Bissaka because he actually is predominantly a right back, is Diego Dalot. Could Chon and Gomez be involved in this game? Their appearances have been limited. They really haven't featured a lot for Manchester United of them. They haven't really featured them a lot. So, yeah, and, we're going to be making a lot of rotation in general because, we have got a lot of games coming up. Games are coming up thick and fast for Man United. Derby on Thursday. After Derby, we go home to Man City. Obviously, with City on the horizon anyway, I think Solskjaer probably will rest some key players, in the game against Derby. Obviously, after City, I think it's Lask in the first leg of the last 16 in the Europa League. Then we go away to Tottenham, and that's also going to be a pretty difficult game. So games are coming up thick and fast for Manchester United. Thick and fast for Manchester United. But, I do believe as well that Fred will keep his place in the team. So he'll play against Derby because, Fred's been in really, really good form for Man United. Really, really good form. He scored twice against Club Brugge. That's his first 2 goals for Manchester United in 17 or 18 months. Fred, we paid £50 million. I do believe we overpaid for him. But, the longer he spends here, we'll look back and say, we got him for next to nothing. When he does obviously emulate that level, we want him to get to that level. He's not at that level as yet, but he's working towards that level where we want him to be. But, he was very, very good in Ukraine, don't forget. We can't take that away from him. Under Mourinho, never really got the opportunity, but since Solskjaer's come in, I have seen the best of Fred, to be quite honest with you. So he deserves to keep his place in the team. McTominay, he was good early on in the season. He's just come back from a knee injury. I think he's done well, since he's come back. So he deserves to keep his place in the team. I think there's a comparison between McTominay and Matic. Obviously, Matic is more experienced. He's more experienced than, McTominay and that. And obviously, Matic is slow. That's another difference. But I think, with Bruno Fernandes in that midfield, it seems to make Matic, look a bit quicker in that. And to be fair to Matic, he's also been in good form recently as well. Some people would play McTominay over Matic. Some people would play Matic over McTominay. So people have got different perceptions on that aspect. But I think our midfielders are doing really, really well anyway. And like I said, when Paul Pogba does come back, he may not get as many chances, as he has done before. Reflect on how good our midfielders have been doing. Bruno Fernandes, he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He'll definitely play against Derby. He's already on 3 goals, is Bruno Fernandes, for the football club. He's already on 3 goals already. I think he's provided around 2 assists as Bruno Fernandes. And he's obviously, he's a revelation, and he's very instrumental. His decision making is very, very good, and he makes the difference in the team, does Bruno Fernandes, and he's key to our rebuilding. He's key to our rebuilding process under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I think Solskjaer's actually been instructed to build a team around Bruno Fernandes. And I did say, didn't I, when he was at Sporting Lisbon, I said he had the minerals to come and succeed in the Premier League, reflecting on, what he did in his 2.5 years with Sporting Lisbon. I'm glad we got him in. I was just disappointed that we didn't get Bruno Fernandes in at an earlier point. He's like our 4th most expensive signing because we paid, £68 million for him. So he will definitely be involved in this game. Daniel James, he didn't play against Everton. I think he was actually, injured, was Daniel James, if I'm right. I do believe, from my own perception anyway, Solskjaer has been overplaying Daniel James this season. He has been overplaying him, let's be honest. Daniel James, we paid, £15 million in from Swansea, with add-ons included. And to be fair, I'm very surprised that, he's played as many games to the extent as he has done. I didn't think he'd have played as many games. I'm surprised of how well he's performed. He hasn't been so good in the last month or so, but I think prior to that, Daniel James has done really, really well. So whether he'll be involved against Derby or not, I do not know. Honestly, do not know on that. So yeah, he will definitely make changes, will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Phil Jones, I don't see him playing any part in this game. He doesn't really get enough opportunities now, does Phil Jones? He's one of the backup centre-halves, and we have got a lot of centre-halves in our team. But revert back to what I said, I think Fosu-Mensah and Tuanzebe should play a part in the game against Derby, but I don't see them starting. Pereira and Lingard, do you think they could be involved? I don't want any of them to play because they are 2 liabilities for Manchester United, are Pereira and Lingard. And, like I mentioned, we are starting to drop them now with how inconsistent they have been. And I think Andres Pereira and Jesse Lingard are 2 players that we definitely, need to move on. But yeah. So that's your preview for the Derby Man United game and that. I will be watching the Chelsea game tonight. It is on BBC One. You've already, like I mentioned, you've already seen my preview for that game anyway. And yeah. Obviously, you saw my video that I did this morning. I give you a preview. I give you the latest news on what's going on with the transfers and that. Obviously, Man United are making plans for the summer transfer window because obviously we do know that more investment is needed in the squad, and there is still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. As you all know, some United fans have got, a lot of United fans, should I say, I've got different perceptions on Solskjaer. Some United fans are Solskjaer in, and some United fans are Solskjaer out. We've been in a good run of form though recently, to be fair. We're unbeaten in our last 8 games in all competitions. It's a shame that we didn't beat Everton though. It is a shame that we didn't beat Everton. because obviously we'd have beaten Everton. That would have been our third win on the trot in the Premier League for the first time this season. But I thought we was unlucky against Everton because I thought we dominated the game. We reacted well from going 1-0 down. Obviously, there was Everton's disallowed goal was very controversial. Obviously, some people were saying it should have stood, and some people are saying it was the correct decision to rule it out. It was VAR that ruled it out. The main explanation why they ruled it out is because, there was talk saying that Sigurdsson had interfered in play, but, but didn't touch him. So maybe it should have been given the goal. And a lot of people, are very infuriated with VAR and that. But, the draw wasn't the best result, but it wasn't the worst result because, like I mentioned, Everton are a good team now. They've rejuvenated themselves under Ancelotti, and you have got a lot of good attacking players. And, they've got a pretty decent record at Goodison Park. So at least we didn't lose the game, that's a positive in that. And, we didn't play that bad. We didn't play that bad, to be honest with you, in that. But hopefully, we can get a result against Derby on Thursday. And I'm very, very confident, Manchester United can do this. Very, very confident, we can do this and that. And if we can keep this good run of form up until the end of the season, then probably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be given another season at Manchester United because this is his fifth full season at the moment at the football club. But, we can still finish in that top four. Surprisingly, even though we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season ever, but we can still finish in the top four. So that just indicates out that a lot of teams have been very, very poor in the Premier League this season. The frustrating part about it is, realistically, we should be in the top four by now because we've had so many opportunities to close the gap because Chelsea have actually dropped quite a lot of points this season. There's a few teams now in that top four race, though. If we get European football secured, then I think definitely Solskjaer will be given another full season at the football club and that. But revert back to what I said, a lot of United fans have got different perceptions on him. So I've given you the news, haven't I, regarding Jadon Sancho earlier on today. There was reports coming out of the mainstream media yesterday saying that Manchester United are now leading the race to sign Jadon Sancho. I actually read it in the Telegraph. They basically said Man United leading the race to sign him. He's expected to cost us around £100 million. So that'd basically mean he would be a record signing in the Premier League and he would be our most expensive signing because our most expensive signing at the moment is Paul Pogba, who we paid £89 million for. And yeah, and not on him, we've been in for Jadon Sancho. There's been Chelsea also in for him, Liverpool have been in for him. But I think Sky in Germany, they confirmed the other week that he's going to be leaving Borussia Dortmund at the end of the season. The Borussia Dortmund chief executive, he's given his overarching view on the speculation, and he insists that Jadon Sancho is happy at Borussia Dortmund. But I think he's probably going to be leaving at the end of the season. And reportedly, we're set to offer him around £200,000 a week. So that also means, one of the highest paid players at Manchester United and that. But I think he'd suit our system well. Obviously, we've been in for him for a while. We was relentlessly linked with Jadon Sancho last year, but we didn't get him on the board. He's now into his third season with Borussia Dortmund as Jadon Sancho. He's been dropped in a lot of games this season. In his past two seasons, he's done well, though, as Jadon Sancho. It'd be beneficial for his career to come back to the Premier League anyway, because he did serve a couple of years with Manchester City, but never got any first-team opportunities at Man City, and this is the main explanation why he left City to go to Borussia Dortmund. Now, Dortmund know how much of an imperative player that Sancho is, but they'll look at it from a financial point of view and say, look, we're going to make around a £93 million profit because we only paid around £7 or £8 million for him from Manchester City. Sancho's still got, I think, around 2 years left on his current contract, but we still want to continue the policy of recruiting young players in. Jadon Sancho's 19, or he's nearly 20 years of age now. He's predominantly a right winger, and I think he would be a great addition to our team, would Jadon Sancho. So if we were to get Jadon Sancho and Jack Grealish this summer, because Jack Grealish is our number one priority target for the summer, that would probably cost us around 160, 70 million pounds, because I think we'd have to pay probably around 60 or 70 million pounds to convince Aston Villa to let Jack Grealish go. We want to get a deal finalised now for Jack Grealish, so we don't have to pay more money for him, because if we were to leave it until after the Euros, we'd have to pay more money, because that means Jack Grealish, would have been participating in the Euros. Plus, if Villa avoid relegation, we're going to have to pay more money for the player. I think Grealish has got around the 40-odd million release clause. He's still got around 3 years left on his contract with Aston Villa. But I think if he is to leave Villa, he's confirmed his preference is a move to Manchester United. Jack Grealish is predominantly an attacking mid. Occasionally, though, plays as a winner. So we're basically seeing Grealish as the adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. And if we were to get Grealish in, I think then Solskjaer's first choice midfield trio would be Grealish, Bruno Fernandes and Fred. That would be his first choice midfield, three, if, we were to get Jack Grealish in going on into next season. That's my opinion on that. That's my opinion on that and that. But yeah, these are quite a few players on our agenda. And I think this summer we need around 3 to 4 signings if we are to be back being competitive and if we are, to be title contenders. Now, if we can get the right players in, I think maybe going on to next season, we can challenge for the league. We can do it. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, and that is now 7 years ago since we last won the Premier League. So it's been 7 years since we won it, yeah. Last time we won it, it was in Alex Ferguson's last season, but in general anyway, with Lazio in the last 6 or 7 years, we've only won 3 trophies since Fergie left, and that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal, in the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho, and that was in Jose Mourinho's first season. But, there's not only, we don't need to see new incomings, we don't need to see, more signings in the summer. We also need to see more players leave the football club. I think we need to get rid of around 4 or 5 players in the summer, I really, really do. And, obviously a lot of players have left since Solskjaer's arrival. Around 8 or 9 senior players have left. We've generated some money for some of their departures. Some players that leave in the summer, we're going to generate some money for some of their departures. So yeah, more players do. We need to leave Manchester United. Yes, they really, really do. And I think the players that need to go, Jones, he's one player that needs to be moved on. Matic, maybe my perception's changed on Matic because recently he's really, really done well as the Nemanja Matic, to be quite honest with you. And I think it's since he arrived with Fernandes, all of a sudden Matic has really improved. Some aspects of his game have really improved with Matic. So, should we be determined to give him another season? His current contract does expire at the end of the season. I don't know. I'd definitely get rid of Lingard and Pereira, get rid of Chon and Gomez. So I would get rid of around, 4 or 5 players in that. But I think, there's various issues at the club, and we don't only need a change of management. I'm still Solskjaer out. I think, Ed Woodward needs to go. The Glazers need to get out of the club because, they've been owning the club since 2005. Ed Woodward's been here, since 2012 as the chairman. And I don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. I really, really don't. And I just don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. We've been so inconsistent in the last 6 or 7 years. One of the main explanations is because, we've made a lot of mistakes. It's not the only one, but it's the main explanation, like I've mentioned before. What else we've done in the last 6 or 7 years? We've sacked 3 managers. We sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. So we've sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era, and Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. So we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers because Manchester United are not really known for a sacking football club. We're not really known for the sacking football club. So maybe, in hindsight, Solskjaer does deserve another season at Manchester United. And if he doesn't work out going into next season, I would get rid of him. And I'd recommend either Pochettino in or Massimiliano Allegri as his replacement. That's what I would do. That would be, the right thing to do. Obviously we'd have to pay to get rid of Solskjaer. If it was to get rid of him in this 2.5 years he's got left in his contract, or 2 year, whatever, I think we'd only have to pay though around £5 million to get rid of him. Solskjaer's inexperienced as a manager, and that's my element of concern. He's inexperienced as a manager. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. Some of his substitutions have been questionable. It may be in some games he's got it right. But I just feel as though the expectations are too high for him at Manchester United. We shouldn't have given him the job permanently. The main explanation why we're giving the job permanently is reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager, because he did really, really well when he was the interim manager, so take that into account. And that we should have recommended Pochettino in after we sacked Jose Mourinho back in, December 2018. This is what, we basically, should have done. But we've had some good results under Solskjaer. Like I mentioned, we've done well against elite opposition, but we haven't really replicated that against lower opposition. That's been the element of concern. Solskjaer's had a superb record against Chelsea since he come in. He's beaten Lampard 3 times. Beaten PSG, beaten City twice as a manager, beaten Tottenham. Drew with Liverpool. So we've had some good results under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. So yes, guys. So that's your Man United preview, and that's everything else to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.